go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Between Two Props, episode 2. We are back. Harry, what's going on?
It's great to be back, Shoppy. And I got to say, I wasn't expecting to be the number one streamed podcast in Australia, but it's happened. We're just grateful for you guys, the viewers, and yeah, let's go from here.
Certainly the number one streamed podcast in the Brumbies organisation. There is another one. Shout out to the Charge Down. We appreciate you guys doing great things for club rugby in Canberra. So yeah, cheers to you guys.
Yeah, and cheers to the other podcasters in Australia that aren't doing so well, but appreciate it.
All right, so little life update, Harry. What's been happening, bro?
Yeah, obviously back in the brace. Not too sure exactly what we're dealing with, but yeah, it's a little bit of a setback, which is unfortunate. And I think that over the next couple of weeks, we'll see a few doctors for some opinions and try and get what's happening down pat and go from there, I think. But yeah, a bit of a setback, bit unfortunate, but keep rolling, see how we go.
That's a cool
grind.
It's a cool game, rugby, but you know what? At least we're all here together, all going through it together, all in rehab at the moment. So that's a positive.
Hell of a rehab group.
Hell of a rehab crew at the moment.
Yeah,
and the funny thing about that is our next guest is actually also in the rehab crew. You'll hear and see from him very shortly.
Yeah.
But I just want to give a shout out to everyone that watched and listened to episode 1. I thought it was pretty good. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it went well. Like it's always a bit of an unpredictable asset having Billy Pollard on the scheme. Like even now, like opening up Instagram Reels, I'm worried. I don't know what's going to happen. Yep. But yeah, it went well. Congrats to the little fella. Like I think he did really well.
Shout out to Bill making the Wallabies squad as well, and also all the other Brumbies boys making the Wallabies squad. Hopefully, we'll see a few of them take on Fiji next week.
That's it.
But do you want to do the honours of introducing our next guest?
Of course. So we've got another Brumbie and Wallaby entering the scene. He's your favourite buzz-cutted 6'4", is it? Probably 4, maybe 5. He likes to tell people 6'6". He's a confident Randy Orton impersonator. Welcome to the podcast, Charlie Cale.
What's
up, bro?
Yeah.
Thanks for seeing me, man. No worries, bro.
Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, bro.
Hey, bud.
How are you? Good to see you.
Thanks,
Good to
man.
see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Look at Jedsy on the scene.
Charlie Cale, 22 props. What's going on?
Not much. Very excited to be here after the first episode with my good mate Billy Pollard. Went viral.
Yeah.
Hard to follow.
It is. Just before we start, we'll go through the nickname Chedsy. A lot of people saying, where did that come from? That's actually a Billy Pollard-ism. Do you want to go through that? Or?
So when I first moved down, I came down on not much money like everybody else, and I never brought in my lunch. Yeah. So in our team room, we have ham, cheese, sausage sandwiches, protein bars, whatever it may be. Yeah. So every day for, I want to say 6 months, I made cheese toasties. So Billy saw me making this, and then he said, "Oh, you like cheese? You like cheddar?" I said, "You know what? Firstly, you're a dickhead, and secondly, I do like cheddar." And then he called me Cheddar, and then Cheddar went from Cheds and so on, and I didn't like it, but I guess that's
why it stuck.
That's exactly why it stuck.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nickname stuck.
Who's that?
At least you're owning it now. That's the main thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I respond to it just like it's my name.
That's what we all do here. It's good.
That's right.
So Charlie, talk to us about what's been happening, man. Obviously, bit of a quiet year for yourself. The viewers and the listeners have been reaching out and asking, where is Charlie Cale? What's he been up to? So can you just fill us in on what's been going on?
What's been going on? Well, I've been sick for last week, so if I cough or sneeze on you, I do apologise.
Apologies in advance for Charlie's waffling. It's just a little bit of a sidetrack, but we'll go.
Proud waffler. So unfortunately for the last probably 12 months, I'd say I've been injured or in rehab. You two both unfortunately know exactly what that's like. So this time last year, I probably had my shoulder reconstruction. I had a lattier, rotator cuff repair and bicep repair. So I had the whole thing. And then I got back to training and playing around, I want to say January. And then I was getting a bit of pain through my back, and then unfortunately it turned into stress fractures. So I did get through 4 games, round 2 to round 5. And then ever since then I've been on the sidelines, but there's worse people. There's not worse people. There's people in a worse position than me just like my good friend here, the H-bomb. So I don't know, it's part of rugby. It's very frustrating, but I'll get better, and it is what it is.
So what's the focus at the moment? Is a bit of weight gain, muscle gain? What is it?
Well, when I was going through my shoulder, I put on all this weight.
Yeah, I know.
As I wanted to, but then I was doing my rehab running and training with the extra weight, and I was not enjoying it. The joints were not enjoying it. The knees were not enjoying it. So that kind of fell off a little bit, but I managed to hold a lot more weight than I previously was playing at. I think I was playing at around 102, 103 and got to 105. I like playing at 105, 6, 7. So, yeah.
That you wouldn't call yourself a physical bully on the field, more of a finesse player?
Yes, I don't know. It's depends on the opposition. I'm quite
Flexible.
variable. I can change the way I play.
Yeah. Bit of a chameleon.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I do like the flashy side, but
Yeah. Oh, we need it.
Let's
We need
strip it
that.
right back, Charlie. I want to talk to you about the early days, what it was like growing up for you. Obviously, born in Dubbo, grew up in Sydney, went to the great King's School. Talk to us a bit about your family. You know, your brothers play footy as well. Is your family like a big rugby family? How did you get involved in rugby? And yeah, just tell us a little bit about how it all started.
my family is a big rugby family. Everyone always asks me, do you get your sporting abilities from your mum or your dad? I definitely got it from my mum. My mum was very sporty. She loved athletics. She loved hockey. My dad played basketball and played cricket at Scots College in Sydney.
Shout out Sue and Tim.
Shout out Sue and Tim. And I think he played in the 13 Fs for cricket. I don't think you could go any lower. But I think he was pretty good at basketball. But yeah, the athletic side, me and my brothers have, definitely from mum. So I was born in Dubbo, like you said. We were living in
House.
a house.
Yeah, that's good.
We were living in Narromine, but there was no hospital in Narromine, so Sue gave birth to me at Dubbo. And then when I was roughly a couple of months old, I moved to Sydney, so I wasn't in the country for very long. So I always find it funny when people refer to me as being from the Central West or being from the country or whatever it may be. But yeah, family, very loving, very rugby family. Like you said, two older brothers, Sam and Jack, they both play rugby. They were at Eastwood for a fair few years, like myself in the juniors. And then now they're at the great Mossman Rugby Club in Sydney.
Beautiful. So really a real Aussie family. And that comes strangely to me because we're a bit of a trio, the three of us. We hang out a lot when B-Pol's not in town and along with the other boys in the
It's a
squad.
lot safer when B-Pol's not here.
Yeah, it's a lot quieter and just more enjoyable in general. But anyway, so we hang out with each other a lot. We see what each other eats. And I noticed Charlie, he's not one for bland food. Not that any of us are, but he cannot stand it. I see you eating a lot of island food. Greek cuisine, is it?
I see where you're going.
Where does your passion for that come
I
from?
see where you're going with this. Well, funny you say
Emphasis on the
that. Funny you say that. I don't know if I've ever talked about it, but my girlfriend is actually Greek.
What?
way.
So yes, so funny you say
Shout out
that.
Denise. If you're watching.
Shout out
Listening.
Denise. She's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before Denise or Ionisi
Yeah.
is what
Dionysus.
her Greek name is.
Yep, similar to the basketballer. But continue.
Correct.
Yep.
I probably was bland because I didn't like cooking, wasn't great at it, etc. In comes the ethnic island spice in my life, and now I've learned to cook better.
Yeah.
I've learned to eat salads and
Greek salad.
Greek salads.
A lot of feta.
I don't love Greek salad, but when I go to their house, it gets put on my plate and you can't say no.
So where about, is this in Wagga?
This is in Wagga. They live in Wagga.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We do get lots of stories from the visits to Wagga. He goes, mate, honestly, I was treated like a king. Like that everyone loves me there. Like they're so nice to me. Why don't you guys treat me
loves
like that?
Too, but it's just,
Yeah. But it's good to see. And maybe that has a little bit to do with your rapid weight gain at one point. But
Maybe.
But you've lost it now. You're looking great. So go you.
As this is a rugby podcast, it's based around rugby. Let's bring it back. When did you decide that rugby was going to be a legitimate pathway for you?
when I was in school, I was never very good at school. So my grades weren't great. My HSC mark wasn't great. But I always liked the idea of playing professional sport. I loved cricket back in the day as well. I was never good enough to make professional cricket. But I don't know, I kind of finished school. I worked for my dad a little bit. Shout out Cale Property Real Estate in Sydney. If you're looking to buy a house, rent a house, they've got everything. So I worked for him for a little bit. I was taking photos of properties and stuff like that, which I didn't mind. But then I actually started my own landscaping business. It was called CPM, Charlie's Property Maintenance.
Hard work, optional.
And and I don't know if you would call it landscaping. All I did was mowed lawns and trimmed hedges and stuff. But I put in the landscaping because I thought I would get more customers that way. I actually printed it off, I want to say 200 flyers and dropped them into people's letterbox around where I lived. I think I ended up 15 or 16 clients. So I would go out there, get a quote, and then go back and do a half-assed job, still get paid for it. And then, so when I was going through that, I was playing for Eastwood in the Shoot Shield, and that kind of, I was playing a right, and then I kind of got a call from a manager saying the Brumbies were interested, and then I started to realise that it was a possibility playing professional rugby. It was just obviously at that stage it's academy deal or EDS contract. You're not actually in the squad, but when things like that started coming to me, then I realised that, you know, maybe I could venture into this field.
True. You and I came into the Brumbies at the same time.
We did.
I forget what year it was, maybe 2021?
I think it was the end of 2021.
Prime, like peak COVID.
Peak COVID.
So we did like
we had 2 months. We had 2 months quarantine.
Yeah. Did the 2 months.
And we were supposed to be in the same house, but we weren't.
Yeah, we weren't because of friendship reasons.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, that would have been a rough 2 months with Billy Pollard, which Charlie had to endure.
It was.
But yeah, let's touch on that actually. Let's go through that.
Well, I knew of Billy Pollard. I didn't really know him personally.
Everyone knows of him.
Everyone knows of him, but no one knows him or wants to know him personally. Anyways, moved down there. He, at the start, acted like a great guy. He messaged me before, said, do I need anything? I said, no, mate, I've got everything sorted. I walked in the house and I was going into quarantine with Ed Kennedy. He moved down as well. He used to play from the Scarlets. He came down. And I walk in. There's a 3-bedroom house. Obviously, you live there. You both know what it's like. I walk in and there's 3 bedrooms. There's obviously his bedroom, which is quite a nice bedroom. And then there's a second bedroom that's also really nice. And then there's a bedroom after that. That was a shoebox. It was tiny.
That was your old room.
It was tiny.
Wasn't that bad? Before you had it, there was like the window couldn't shut completely, so it was freezing.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but the difference,
crazy.
Like ensuite. Yeah. This one was just
post renovations.
And Billy walks me in and he says, "Hey mate, like I'll take you to your bedroom. It's a 3-bedroom house." I thought, "Oh, that's pretty snazzy." So walked me past his bedroom. He said, "That's my bedroom." He was pushing me past the next bedroom and I kind of went to walk in and he didn't say anything. He just kept pushing me on. And then he said, "Oh, this is your bedroom." I said, "Oh, what about that bedroom?" He said, "Oh, there's another guy coming in. I've given him that." I said, "What about me?" But Ed was older and obviously an experienced player at that time. So even if Ed was there before me, I would have happily given that to him. But that just shows Billy Pollard. He brings you in.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like he's a nice guy, but he's a dickhead.
Yeah, he's a dick. He's what do the people call him? I think it was Slips that said he's the most unlikable good guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
We should change the name of this podcast to The Real Billy Pollard. Or
it honestly is. And everyone's got a story about him.
You open that can of worms with him being your first guest. Now everyone's going to talk about him.
There's too much to touch on.
Let's move on. All right, we've done enough roasting of Bill. Shout out Bill. What is it? So you obviously came to the Brumbies on an EDS academy kind of contract. What from your perspective, what is it that sets the Brumbies apart from other clubs?
I think if you ask everybody, most people's answers would be the same. I was doing a little bit of Gen Blue at the Waratahs when I think I was maybe 16 or 17, I want to say. And then I got injured and then they flicked me. And then obviously I was playing for Eastwood. But when I first came down here as a young guy, you kind of think we had the best players in the country, right? You know, you're talking about like James Slipper is the most capped Australian rugby player, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
And Alan, you know, the captain of the Wallabies, and then other great players like Folau Fainga'a, he was here, Ire Simone, Pistol Pete Samu was here. And you see these caliber of players and you think, oh, you know, how am I going to fit into this club, or they might not speak to me, but it's not like that at all. They gave you all the time in the day. Even still, many of those players I just mentioned have moved on, but James Slipper, Alan, young guys coming in, might not even be in the squad, and these guys give their time up like they're almost friends. So I think that's a massive thing that I've noticed.
They're always really easy to get around as well, and like easy to talk to.
Yeah.
I remember Scotty in the hallways, Scotty CO. He was probably the best. Like I was so shy at the start, and you'd just be walking through the hallways. You go, 10 years, Vela, 10 years. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, that's how long I've been at the Brumbies, mate. That's a legacy. That's a legacy I have. And you're like, yeah, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, he was funny.
So you mentioned a few names there, but is there one person that sort of sticks out, and when you met them, like, was it a bit of a pinch yourself moment?
Yes, there was, and I think it's maybe obvious to some people, but not. But meeting Pete Simon was cool. You know, I didn't watch a lot of rugby when I was young, but then obviously when I was playing shoot in Sydney, and obviously got the opportunity to come down here, I started watching a lot more rugby. You know, obviously he was watching the Brumbies, and the way he played, I loved, because he was very different. He was and is still different to a lot of back rowers out there. It's funny talking about him because we're obviously going to verse him next year. But he's he was very impressive on the field, but more so impressive off the field.
Yeah.
Again, it's funny because we're going to be playing him next year, but he's just the coolest guy I've ever met.
The
way he dressed.
Cool guy.
We have like themes, like we'd do like forwards dinner, we'd do like jeans and joggers.
Something to look silly.
Everyone would look so stupid in jeans and joggers, and Pistol would look like it was a planned outfit. It was so good.
It was ridiculous.
Sucked. Anyway.
So then, I guess coming in through the academy system and like your early days, what were your memories of like your first year or two here? Because obviously you had to work your way up to get to where you are today. Like what were some of the memories that you had from when you first came in?
I think when you first come in, you're obviously very heavily involved in the club system. So I was heavily involved with the mighty Uni North Owls. And although we didn't win anything, that club has a lot of great people. A lot of good players have gone through that club. So I guess the on-field and off-field memories at that club were great. Great people, like I said, good coaches. And it's funny because you train here in the day, and then Tuesday, Thursday night, you're going to club. So you always got something on, whether you're hanging out with people here or, hanging out with people from club. They were great. And then, like obviously Vela touched on, we came down at the same time. So what I was going through with, trying to impress coaches, trying to earn respect from players, there was other people that were doing the same thing. Vela was doing the same thing. Hudson Crichton came at the same time as myself. I'm sure I've missed people, but just people that you can relate to, I guess, trying to earn that spot. We're all trying to earn a spot, and lucky enough we got one. But it's a wild ride, but it's very fun at the same time.
You obviously here when Dan McKellar was here. Was there many differences in the environment, coaching wise, culture wise, compared to now? I guess I've only been here when Bernie's been in charge. I never got to play under Dan McKellar. Can you tell us a bit about like the differences and what it was like when Dan was here?
I think there are similarities and differences between Bernie and Dan. I choose my words carefully.
Both great coaches.
Obviously, but Steve kind of has more of a, I want to say, more relaxed approach to coaching to get his point across, and Obviously, he's gone off at times where it's been absolutely fair enough, but Dan had more of a I don't know if you'd say aggressive, but
I'd say he was just more
assertive
and
more assertive,
direct.
Yeah, more assertive and direct. But I was very grateful and lucky that I got to have my first year with Dan. I learned a lot of things that I was lacking from my game from him. He yelled at me a few times, which was warranted. But yeah, there's, I haven't had a lot of coaches. Like, I've only really been in the Brumbies professional system, but I feel like you can get something good from all coaches.
I do remember one of the club games, you were playing for the Owls, I was playing for the mighty Canberra Royals, and we probably got up that game as well. And all I knew was we were versing Cheds, and there was a kick-off. I go to hit the breakdown. All of a sudden, Cheds is down. He's snoring on the ground, sucking in the dirt of Phillip Oval. And I'm really concerned. He gets up and he's grabbed his shoulder somehow. But there was a story behind that.
There was. So I had the weekend. Obviously, I think we played. I can't remember. I want to say we played Queanbeyan Whites on Saturday. Sunday was off. Monday you come in and Monday clips, everything, and then Tuesday morning, I believe, from memory, that's when Dan picked the team or had meetings with you one-on-one to tell you you're in the team or not in the team. And I'll never forget, he called me in, and I was obviously not expecting to play. I thought it was about something I did at club footy or something like that. But he called me in and said, Charlie, you're obviously not playing this week. I said, obviously. That's the first thing, get off your chest. But he said, look, mate, he said, I watched your game on the weekend against the Whites. He said, I think you were pretty good, but I think you need to be a bit more aggressive and a bit more dominant in the contact area. And I thought, okay, I'm going to prove this bloke wrong. He's going to change his concept of me. So he said, word for word, he said, go out there on the weekend and try and whack someone. And Monday to Friday, I was thinking, the first chance I get, I'm going to fly at someone, whatever size they may be, whatever situation we're in. Anyway, we run out in the field, whistle goes, and we're kicking off. And I'm thinking, you beauty, I'm going to chase this ball. The ball goes high, run past the first pod. I see this 80-kilo winger. He might have even been 75 kilos.
Yeah, he's probably pushing 75.
He's looking up, he's about to catch this ball, and I'm streamlining from it. I'm like, I'm going to smash this bloke. And in my head, I was running and I was thinking, Dan's going to show this in the meeting to all the boys.
He's going to love it.
I'm going to get him.
Yeah.
Anyway, he catches this ball. I absolutely hit him with everything I have.
Yeah.
But he turns at the last second, and my head hits his back.
Oh.
And then for, I want to say 20 seconds, I was snoring on the ground.
It's so good.
Were you there?
I was there, and it was funny
He was
because
playing.
in the front row was like everyone's kind of hyped up. Front row was at scrum time, as you know, Shelby. We can tile things back into and see it clearly. Max Bode, Connell McInerney. I'm forgetting someone. James Bundy was out there. These are all great club vets. Billy Pollard was out there. And so they've all seen it, and Charlie gets up and tries to be a hero and goes, oh, it's my shoulder to try and stay on the field. Yeah, and I think it was Max Bode or Connell, and they've gone, mate, come on, mate, it's your head, you got to take this seriously. And then honestly, 3 of them went, yeah, I second that, I third that. And it was like, get him off the field, we're sick of this. It was a real gentleman's moment. I found it pretty funny because I was close with Charlie, but it was good.
I do remember the Billy yelling at the ref to send me off for concussion protocols, but I demanded to stay on. And then I did stay on for another couple of minutes, but I only knew that because I rewatched the game the next day. But so
is it true that after you came off, you got emotional because of the rush of the?
I actually can't remember. Maybe you should be taking the piss out of concussion.
Of course, I would never do that.
So I can't remember.
All right, so before we talk about some more footy stuff, I want to ask you a question. You've been here quite a while now, and you've had many living situations. Who's been your most favourite roommate?
My most favourite roommate would be, I haven't lived with many, but Jack Debrains comes to mind.
J Debs.
J Debba. J Debs, he comes
to mind. Here?
I don't know if he's here. I did see him earlier.
Can you go check if he's outside?
I'll just go check if he's outside quickly.
It's going to be an annoyed Ed Kennedy in the ranks somewhere of the viewership.
Yeah.
Which is because he basically.
You're not going to believe it.
Oh, no way.
Look who I found walking around the hall.
Oh, my
Welcome,
God.
Jack
Welcome,
Debrains.
Jack Debrains, everybody.
Between two props, you're going to have to share a chair and a microphone.
We'll share. Where do you want me?
I'd give you an introduction, but we'll get you on a separate time.
Needed.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no
I was
worries.
watching outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recovery.
Vision, maybe?
Preparing for the Lions game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks to go. Obviously, sore back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big run in to get warm for that game.
Fair.
People often call Jack Debrains Jack the Back because of his long-term back problems.
It started with a strong back, but
Yeah.
now it's bad back.
Yeah.
But still Jack the Back.
Yeah, it still looks good though. Anyway,
Yeah, so...
Back to the roommate comment.
All right, yeah.
So
What was the question?
the question was, who's my favourite roommate?
Vote for me.
That's just because I knew you were outside. I
I
didn't know who else to
I couldn't
say.
pick that.
So it was a cold winter's night. I want to say last year. Wait, what year are we in? 25.
25.
Last year. And what month? Would have been March?
April.
April, winter, whatever.
He knows
Close
the
enough.
details.
I get this text. It said, I'm outside, I'm freezing, and I have nowhere to go. And I didn't have his number saved at the time, so I was obviously my first reaction was, who's this? Anyways, the intercom rings, bring, intercom rings. And I see this camera, and I just see his eyes. I knew it was Debrains. Anyways,
Strong eyebrows.
Strong eyebrows. Anyways, I let him up. I actually got a photo of him, and I'll send it to you, Connor, so you can bring it up on the screen. I think he had 2 pillows, a backpack, and a doona. And he said, look, mate, I've been sleeping in the gutter for the last week. I need a place to stay.
Yeah.
And being the good-hearted person I am, I said, I would love to have you. And I did I wanted him to stay with me. So, yeah. And then our friendship, we're already friends, but our friendship blossomed into something you can't break.
Okay, J Debba.
Any truth to that?
Scale 1 to 10, how true is that?
Probably 2. But you don't get away.
One being the truest.
Yeah, obviously. 1 was true as
Don't
well.
get
That's
away
very
with the
true.
story, eh?
Talk to us about Charlie as a roommate. What's he like?
Yeah, so like Charlie mentioned...
Do you want to hold the mic? Or?
I can hold it. Like Charlie mentioned, he pretty much begged me to move in when he found out I was moving out of my old apartment. And I said, yeah, why not? Let's see how this goes. Charlie forgot to mention it's a 1-bedroom apartment.
It's a key detail.
Obviously 2 people here, 1 bedroom. How does that work?
Oh, God.
Selfless guy he is, gives up his own bedroom and sleeps on a mattress in the living room.
And he didn't tell anyone about
Didn't
that
tell
either.
anyone about that either.
No.
But it was good. So pretty much when I went to the kitchen, you're almost stepping out into his bedroom now. So he owned pretty much the entire house outside of his own bedroom. So when it got to about 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, and you go to bed, essentially I couldn't go to toilet after that because who knows what's happening outside those doors. That's his bedroom out there. That's his bedroom. So no, it was good. I became his pretty much live-in chef.
Yeah.
He gave me a lot of, I would ask him, what do you want for dinner? A lot of it was like chicken, rice.
Tuna bake was good.
Tuna bake was good. What don't you like?
Tell me.
A lot of veggies are
Surely you like
off
the eggplant parmesan.
I was just about to say that. That's Deb's signature dish. We've had it a couple of times. You do an eggplant parmesan as well.
Yeah. So it was good. A lot of items are off the cards for young Jez, but we're slowly building his palate for vegetables and
Well, we were saying he's got quite an island palate at the moment.
Mediterranean.
Yeah,
loves Greek.
Yeah,
Greek
loves
food.
Greek.
Yep.
Interesting you say that because when Des moved in, this was the point where I started talking to said island. What?
Islander.
Islander.
Yeah.
So God bless her. She slept on the ground for 8 months with me, which was, this speaks volumes to her, I guess.
Really quickly before we say goodbye to Debs, thanks for coming on, by the way. I know you're
Thanks for
busy.
having me.
Yeah, we'll have to get you on as a solo act one time soon.
Yeah, I just want to finish with like a little bit of feedback based on being a roommate. Like, what's one thing that Charlie can improve on as he goes into this next stage of his life?
I would say Charlie lets things build up. And when he puts his mind to things, unbelievable.
Wow.
But there's a slow build up of things. So let's take one example, maybe like items in the kitchen, like dishes.
No.
They might just fester and build. Rather than just wash the plate after you use it, let's leave that in for a day or two.
Don't
And
let
then
it
we'll
fester.
leave maybe a couple too. And then the next thing you know, the sink's pretty full. So that would be the one work on.
Don't think, just do.
Just be
Don't think,
better.
just do. That's
Yeah.
a great comment.
Do I get to
You
rebuttal?
want a rebuttal? Yeah, before we say goodbye.
What was the question again? Sorry.
What's one improvement?
One improvement for Debs if he was
It was
to.
for you, but you can go.
No, I accept yours, and I'd like to speak about you now. One improvement Debs could learn from is if he had another roommate. I'm not making fun of age, but I'm a lot younger than Debs, and
Yeah, what, like 30 years?
We had a when did you debut? 1980. And I believe we were north facing, and there was this one night that there was a thunderstorm, and the hail in Canberra is big. It was going onto the balcony. It was hitting the slide across doors, the glass. It was making the loudest noise, and it was quieter in the bedroom. So I was foreign to this in the living room, and it was terrifying. Anyway, so I think it might have been 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I softly knock on Debs' door. I said, "Debs, look, I can't sleep. Do you mind if I share?" He yelled at me to get out. So next time that happens, I think the best thing is to do is let that person in, give that person a safe space, maybe even a cuddle.
Des has a wife though.
She was not here. It's just me.
You
and
need a
him.
thunder buddy.
Need a thunder buddy.
And as you can see, Charlie likes to waffle on with stories. So sometimes
Yeah.
throughout this next little segment, just cut him off every
We've
now and then.
mentioned the waffling. Yeah.
So it's a learning point for him.
Debs, I know you've got a lot going on right now, so we appreciate you jumping on, but we're going to say goodbye. We're going to continue with the Charlie Cale story.
No worries. Thanks for having me,
Appreciate you
guys.
jumping on.
No, thanks, Debba. We'll
Love
have
the
you on again.
podcast.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
Cheers. Appreciate that, Joe. Thanks for that. Thanks. That was a great cameo. And even dressed
Never have him
better
back
than he
ever
usually
again.
is. Sometimes you might get him in a towel. So
You
that
see
was
how he
great.
dresses at home. It's
What a
ridiculous.
coincidence that he was at HQ.
Yeah,
We
it was-
didn't tee that up at all.
Nah, not at all.
I don't ever text anyone, so
Nah.
that's good.
All right, let's continue with the Charlie Cale story. You've been here for a few years now. Talk to us about your Brumbies debut.
Brumbies debut against Moana at GIO. Very grateful. Always wanted to debut at GIO, but obviously you don't get to pick and choose that. But it was incredible. I had my friends and family there. It's just I always say to someone who's debuting now, you just enjoy the week. Obviously you want to train hard, you want to win, but the week is extremely exciting. So yeah, we won that game. I don't know exactly what the score was, but yeah,
Yeah, you won.
it was great. You played that game too.
No, I didn't play that game. I did debut against Moana at GIO as well.
Oh, right.
But it
Oh,
was
maybe that's why.
following
Both
I
on the
was
bench.
in the middle of a
Right,
ACL injury at the time.
Fast forward to
That's a story for another podcast.
fast forward to 2024, which essentially was like your breakout year. You know, you played every game. Did you play every game that year?
No, I didn't play every
Almost
game.
every game?
Might have to check your stats. I
Oh,
think I
no.
missed
I said
5 or
almost.
6 actually.
Anyway, you know, that was your year where you kind of made your mark in Super Rugby. You know, lots of great highlight reels, but you were playing really good footy. Is there anything that you reckon you can put that down to, like on the field, off the field, or?
Great question, Shoppy, by the way.
Thanks.
And do
Tough
you
one to
think it
answer.
was a little bit cocky kicking ahead of a winger to then chase it down and score a try against the
the
Melbourne
Rebels,
Rebels
round one, yeah.
round 1 at Amy Park? Was that a little bit of a dick move? Probably.
It wasn't supposed to go to me. It was just a kick in play, and I just happened to get there. It was just simple by chance.
Yeah.
But I don't really know is the truth, Shoppy. I did learn, like in that year, obviously, contrary to many of the players here, believe that I train hard. But I guess knowing your detail, like sounds cliche, but knowing detail and training hard sets you up for a good game. And then just, I guess like everyone says, the more games you play, the more comfortable you feel out there. And then I started to put many games together during the year, and then you just get more confidence out of that, I think. Yeah, so I think when you play more, like I said, you get more confidence, you get more chances in different scenarios in the game. So yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You did have not to discredit your hard work, there was a lot of hard work there. Don't swell. You got to take this seriously.
I'm just listening because
there was also that year before where you did do a pretty intense apprenticeship with Pete. And it kind of, not that it was a handover of the number 8 jersey, but it was good timing for you, I felt. And it was, just kind of cruised in very well.
Yeah, even though I didn't ask Pete a lot of questions on the field, the way he trained, the way he carried himself off the field, the way he was playing on the weekends, you learn things that way. Like I'm sure as props, you look at the guys, we have Alan and Slips, and like you ask questions when you need help with a situation or you want to get better, but a lot of it's just watching, seeing what they do, how they do it. So yeah, I never once thought, I want Pete to leave. I never thought that once. I thought, in fact, I wanted him to stay because I wanted to keep learning off him. That's the truth. But I was lucky that I had someone like him in that role to somewhat base your game off. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I guess then towards the end of the year, you were named in the first Wallabies squad. So flowing on from the season you had in 2024 to then go in and make the Wallabies squad, how was that experience like? Because that's obviously your first time being in that environment. Were you nervous, excited? Like, was there anything that surprised you about being involved?
I was incredibly grateful. That was my first initial response, and like being able to share that with friends and family, making the national squad was awesome. And if anyone gets to experience that, very lucky. But yeah, it was just so cool to share that with my family. When I got in there, I didn't really know what to expect. I was probably underprepared, but that's just life when you're doing something new, I feel. But now that I've, been injured for this time and had time to reflect, I've probably learned if I ever got back in there, if I ever was lucky enough to get back in there, what I would do differently or how I would, maybe carry myself differently. I think I spent a lot of time worrying about what other people thought of me or perceived me, or, when you're fighting positions, I was worried about, what that person would do. And at the end of the day, that just, probably put negative thoughts in my mind. So I definitely learned that. Debuted against Wales in Sydney. Again, being from Sydney, I couldn't have asked for a more perfect situation to be in. All my friends and family were there. Like my grandma was there, struggles to travel, which was just amazing. And then obviously, like I said, I'm from Sydney, so to do that in my hometown was awesome.
That is beautiful. And sure, we're on the Wallabies. I think it was Tom Wright that he told me that he's seen a lot of training sessions, but up there in the worst sessions was Charlie Cale at Wallabies camp on the week of his debut.
Yep.
Obviously, I wasn't there, or neither were you, Shelby, at the time.
It was.
So you want to go through that?
Yeah, it was the Righty does love this story. It was the second week. So played the first week, played my debut. And then I think Joe was picking the team on Monday. Obviously, everyone's nervous about if you're getting selected or whatever, or, if he speaks to you, you're going to make it. If he doesn't, you're not sure. He comes to me, asked me how I'm going, didn't say anything about the game. So I thought, I'm not sure what that means. Or that could mean anything. Anyways, we were all sitting down. Team selection comes up. And I'm starting 8, and I was a little bit shocked, very happy and very grateful. But at the same time, I still had that feeling of worrying about what other people were thinking of me. Does he deserve that? That imposter syndrome type thing. Anyway, so we're on the bus, and we're going to training. And I thought, geez, I've got to train here. I've got to train good here. I've got to show everyone that I deserve to be here.
Just like when you play for the Owls.
That's right. I've got to train good, show everyone that I deserve to be here. We had a new line-out system. I've written the lineouts on my wrist. So I'm like, I'm not going to stuff up. I'm not going to make any mistakes.
Great start.
Great start. I couldn't have been more prepared for this training session. It was in Melbourne. It was a little bit rainy. I wasn't nervous at all. I was more so excited. We get out there. We're running through line-out plays at the start, and then we get into training, and the contact ramps up, and it becomes almost a game. And we're walking this line-out. I've got a long sleeve Wallabies training top on, and it's covering half of my line-out plays. So I walk into the line-out, and I'm looking down at my wrist, and I'm thinking, like 5-man. We had 5-man, we have a 7-man, maybe a 6-man. And the 5-man was covered up. And I was thinking, that must be the 7-man. And then underneath that was the 7-man. I was like, that must be the 5-man. All I had to do was that.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that because I was off with the fairies or something. Anyways, look down at my wrist. I'm looking down at my wrist, and I hear Matt Fezler. He's got a deep voice. He throws it, and I'm looking down my wrist, and I just hear this, Charlie! And I'm looking down my wrist. I look up at Fez. He's looking up at the top. The ball is right above my head. I want to say 2 meters above my head. Lucan's behind me going, he's yelling at me. Won't repeat what he says. The ball goes over, and I'm thinking, holy shit, I've just stuffed up. And Joe, I think it was Joe who was leading the session, blows whistle, stops the training. I think Jeff Parling was on the sideline. I think he's yelled at me, which was completely fair because I've ruined the whole training session.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've stuffed up. Lucan, we're walking in to redo it, and Lucan tells me what the next one is so I don't stuff up again, which I was very grateful for. We go on, and I'm in my head now. I'm thinking, I can't make another mistake. I'll look silly, whatever. I already look silly. I'll look even worse if I make another mistake. And anyways, we go to A zone. So we're practicing what we're going to do against Wales in the A zone.
Oh boy.
And I'm at number 8. I'm at the back of the scrum. And Cron, the scrum coach, comes up to me and he says, I want you to pick it off and give it to Jake. And in my head, I'm thinking, all I've got to do is pick this ball up and give it to Jake. Yeah. Just give it to Jake. Wherever Jake is, I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
Jake feeds it, gets to the back of the scrum. I'm at the back of the scrum facing this way. Jake's where Shoppy is, so he's in front of me. The ball rolls to my feet. I pick it up. I see Jake there. I look left, I look right. There's no one there. And I'm thinking, give the ball to Jake. I handed Jake the ball in front of me. Forward. I go like that. Give it to him forward in front of me. Whistle goes again. Stop the training. Charlie, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm thinking, fuck's sake. This training session couldn't have been any worse. Anyway, so we finish up, go back to I'm waffling. I'm a waffler. Yeah. We get back on the bus, go back to HQ, and the scrum coach, Mike Cron, comes up to me and he pats me on the shoulder. He says, it was a bit tough out there, wasn't it, young buck? And I just laughed, didn't know what to say. And then I saw him go over to James Sleeper, and I said, I bet that's about me. He goes over to James Sleeper and he says, just go check on the young fella. So James comes up to me and takes a piss out of me as he always does. That is a day I'll never forget.
Yeah, well, that's all right. It was out of the way now. I can't get any worse than that.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think one thing that we all have in common right now is we're all sitting here currently injured. I want to ask you personally, off the back of that story, talking about, being at the highest level possible, you've been through a lot this year towards back into last year. And you've gone from, say, the highest of highs, playing for your country, starting at number 8, making your family proud, and then you have shoulder surgery, then you have a little hiccup with your back and you haven't been able to return. So you've gone from the highest of highs and now you're sort of in this rut. What kind of advice do you have, or what have you learnt throughout that period that people could sort of take as a learning for anyone that's going through sort of a tough time and they don't know how to get back to where they were?
I think one thing I've learned from being injured is no matter who you are, you're going to think negatively. You're going to think, you might think, oh, this is going to last forever. I'm not going to play how I used to play, whatever it may be. But when you get out of that, grieving stage, you can look back on it and really understand what's positive and what's negative. And one thing I've learned over the last 12 months is to look after my body. So I've always been like quite stiff, and then now I'm like going through this little stage of really working through my mobility. Like even you've given me some direction in that stage, loving mobility yourself.
Flexible,
and stuff
choppy.
like, yeah, he's very flexible.
For a big guy, he can move.
We can't show on these cameras how flexible he is, but he's flexible. So I think, looking after your body, and then just how important is of like taking responsibility. I think there's injuries that aren't your fault, and then there's injuries that may be your fault, or you were unlucky with an incident on the field. And my stress fracture issue was a loading issue. So you could argue that I was training too hard, potentially. But I was frustrated because it's not a rugby issue. So it's kind of this loading issue. So, I kind of, in my head at the start, wasn't necessarily pointing fingers, but I was just mad at kind of everyone what was happening. And now that I've realized that, there was obviously everyone pushes through pain, but it probably got to a point where it was really affecting my performance. Like I was getting through sessions and getting through games, but I was felt horrible. It was the worst I've felt going into game after game after game. It was kind of like a ticking time bomb. And I was so obsessed with playing, even though I was injured because of the surgery from last year. I thought I can't miss any more footy. I just got to get through it. So that's kind of the mindset I was in. But taking responsibility of my actions. So was I doing everything I can to help my back? Probably not. And now that I've, had this time off, like I was saying at the start, again, I've waffled on to a different direction. But how important your body is.
I think that's a good point. I think especially as young rugby players or just athletes in general, there's always that stigma that you got to be tough and that you should be playing through things, which to some extent I think is fair. Your body's never going to feel 100% playing footy, but there's got to be a point where you need to identify that you can't function well for the team and for yourself anymore. Yeah. And I think, I definitely found that hard coming through, knowing when that point is to actually put your hand up and try and get it sorted with the physios. Yeah. It's kind of I don't know. You see the older guys and they're battling through stuff all the time, but they've kind of perfected that art of knowing when to not pull out, but it's too much.
I think you learn along the way, in terms of your body, what it can and can't handle. So you look at someone like Slips, who has been so consistent the last couple of years, and he just does exactly what he knows his body can do. Yeah. And that's why he continues to play big minutes and quality minutes week in, week out, you know. So I think you'll learn as you go, and it will take time. Yep. So I think that's the biggest thing is you're learning at the moment. We all are. But it's good because, we can look back on it when we're back out on the field and appreciate how hard it was as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Even Slips, he has, there's times in games where his neck season's up and he goes, I need to get off right now. And it's for the betterment of the team. Yep. Because he knows that he can't perform. Yep. I think it's just so it's a bit of a skill and you can't learn it quickly. It's unfortunate, but you have to go through that.
And you learn it. Yeah, like you just said, you got to go through it to learn that. Yeah.
Will you be back for the Brumbies Lions game?
I won't be, unfortunately. Obviously, a few weeks ago, when we were in the last round in the quarterfinal, we pushed through a little bit of training to try and become available, which probably hindered me a little bit. So it's delayed me a little bit, which it is what it is. I mean, I was never going to just rule out playing finals because obviously you don't make many. So I was always going to try and push it a little bit, and we did. And then again, I pushed it to try and make the Lions, and then we didn't really get what I needed. So unfortunately, it delayed me a little bit, but that was my decision, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I've heard lions aren't really that scary as animals anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of got stupid haircuts and stuff.
Brumbies
so.
are probably a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah,
and
the way they kick,
dominant.
they
Horses
kick
are way cooler than lions.
Yeah.
faster.
Speaking of lions, obviously they're coming to town pretty soon. How's the feeling around Canberra? Do you reckon? Pretty excited?
I think it's very exciting. I think, like everyone says, you know, they only come every 12 years. It's very exciting. The stadium is either sold out or almost sold out, I believe. Whether that's going to be Brumbies people or Reds, colour of red, seethed across the stadium. But it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great atmosphere.
We obviously have the upper hand beating them last time they were here. How do you think, just from our perspective, how do you think we'll match up to those boys?
Obviously, it's tough. I think we may not have our Wallabies boys with us, so that'll make it tougher. But, you know, obviously we've gone through some review stuff, watched the Lions. Obviously, you know, they're unbelievable with 4 countries being in their squad. But I honestly think we might surprise people a little bit.
What's the schedule? So it's they versus Force first, then Tars, then us?
Reds and Tars.
Force, Reds.
Oh, so
I
we're
think it's
Force.
Force, Reds, Tars. I think we're last. I think
Well, I
we're
like
last.
the good thing about the ACT and the Canberrans understand it. It's like we're completely different climate to any other place. Like you go to Sydney,
because they don't play in the
Queensland.
cold.
Exactly, you come here this time of year
In England.
it's cold.
They don't play in the cold. They're not used to it.
Yeah, I know, but they're in Australia, mate. They're
It's a
acclimatising the
different
whole
kind of
time.
cold. I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
a different
I see
kind
what
of
you're
cold.
doing. You're being a bit of a dick. Yeah, anyway. But you know what I mean? Like,
No, I
it's
know what you
different.
mean.
There's no... they might be used to this kind of thing in Australia, not from their home. And then they come here and get shocked by the Brumbies fans and team. So
Who are some of the players that you're excited to see?
Finn Russell, the 10. He didn't play the last game, but do you ever see that Netflix TV show
Six Nations?
Six
Yeah,
Nations?
yeah.
And there was kind of like an episode of countries or whatever, and there was an episode of him. And I just thought he was funny, but at the same time, like, unbelievable football player. So yeah,
he'd be up there as best 10 in the world at the moment.
Your
very
props,
close.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, got to admire Ellis Genge and Andrew Porter.
You don't stop talking
Just
about it.
absolute animals, you know. Hopefully we can meet him and get a photo. That'd be nice.
That's why Shobby's got his tracksuit on. He's actually got the same leg tattoo as Andrew Porter at the moment. He's just healing. He'll be out next episode.
Are you going to try and hang out with them after the game?
Maybe at the Ruck if they come. We'll see. Shout out Anna at the Ruck. She's going to host us.
Yeah, we're very
What
excited.
about you,
for
Val?
that.
Ask
Who
for
are you
Anna
excited to
special when
see?
you get
Yeah, I think you named it. But it's also just like some of those players have obviously coming from the biggest comp in the world, biggest fan base in the world. Like they've got an actual following. But like I'm just excited to see all of them. Like Ben Earl, one from Euro position. Like he's a player that's just like a tough dude. I'm just
he's a beast.
excited to see how they play. Probably. Yeah, depending on if we win or lose, won't be shouting any beers considering some of their paychecks. But but we'll see.
All right, so do we want to finish with sauna chat with Val?
Yeah, we almost changed it to a bit of chat GBT hypotheticals.
I love ChatGPT.
Okay, so
Chat GBT.
Oh, yeah, sometimes
love
I find Charlie talking to chat GBT like a real person.
For advice.
I actually sometimes talk to it more than I talk to my girlfriend.
This is fair though. Do you use please and thank you in case they rise up as a robot nation and try to take over the world?
I think I've spoken to ChatGPT so much. Hopefully, the robots know who I am and they will leave me alone.
Yeah, because when I do it, I always say like, "What's the best recipe for tonight, please?" Like I don't want to be rude, just in case.
I see your point. I probably should use manners more.
Because I don't want them to think I'm a dick or anything. Anyway, so I did put one in, and I'll give you one hypothetical, and then we'll do the sauna talk, more classic stuff that we do in the actual sauna. Okay. So the one I put in ChatGPT was quite interesting. So, would you rather? And then I've got a follow-up question after this.
So I let you finish your follow-up, and then I go.
We'll play it out. Let's play it out. Hey, it's live. Whatever.
We're live.
So
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
tear it up live. So you've got 25 words that you can use for the rest of your life, and you get $500 million, or you obviously can use your whole dialect. and not have the 500 million? Are you taking it? Yes or no?
Yes,
So you're taking it
easily.
easily. All right. So if you then take it, the follow-up question is, what
words?
would those words be? And I'm not going to count all 25, but let's get a couple of them out so you can,
That's a great hypothetical.
It's straight out
That's from
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I did.
ChatGPT.
I told you.
I edited it a little bit. Like they just gave me that, and I was like, "Give me something better," and then it did. Boom.
Please, thank you. Yes, no.
Man, it's nice. You're wasting a whole word on You got 25,
but
man.
if I stuff up and say I'm
Then
just
you won't
covering
be able
myself.
to.
You know what I mean?
I think you got to go for the real dark, mysterious vibe, and so
Stop.
you're picking what?
Ouch. Because these are not the words I'm choosing, but slips hits me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say
stop.
ouch or stop.
Ouch. It's a waste.
500 million though. What would you do with 500 million? Honestly,
Dude, I'd probably be pretty similar, but I'd just like be more rich
probably just
If-
buy
if-
more food
and clothes. Yeah.
If I won 500 million, you'd know about it.
Yeah.
Things would
there'd be
change.
signs.
Yeah, there'd be signs.
I'd probably give people money. I'd
Who would you give money to?
I'd give money to everyone in the squad, all my family.
I wouldn't give
Honestly,
money-
anyone that's nice, I'd be a big charity guy.
I wouldn't give money to everyone in the squad.
Not everyone.
Not everyone.
Maybe
I wouldn't give it to
yeah,
Slips.
some
He's got
people
enough.
Some people probably have 500 million like Slips.
I wouldn't give it to Alan. He's got enough.
Yeah.
Who would I give money to?
Yeah. Actually, we could probably just check their locker and see if they've got it in there.
I would give money to Billy to buy nicer clothes.
I would just buy
Back
Bill's
on the bill
clothes.
train. This is good.
And I would give money to Debs to also buy nicer clothes. I've seen how he lives. It's not that impressive.
Okay, so that was a good ChatGPT vibe.
Sorry, waffled on again.
No, it's cool. That's what we're here for.
It's totally fine. So we're in the sauna. Imagine it heats on. Okay, we've been there maybe 10 minutes. 3 foods that are bad for you that you can now make good for you. So I'm saying, and I need specifics. I can't just have chocolate. I need like Mr. Beast Feasty bars or whatever they are.
Okay, see what we're saying.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not just cheese. I need like blueberry and
KFC.
what kind of KFC?
Oh, sorry,
though?
good point.
You see, I just gave you an example and you
Bro,
gave me
that's
what I was
hot and
saying.
Boneless, hot and spicy.
KFC.
And I know you guys love that too.
Yeah, I've never had it before, but it sounds good.
Apparently.
Killer pythons.
The new variety or the old school?
What's the difference?
One of them sweet and sour. And
Oh no, not the sweet and sour ones.
Really?
Just
The
normal.
old
Yeah,
school?
OG.
the OG, good length, 6 inches, whatever that is.
Dude, that's massive. Yeah.
Yeah, if that was healthy for you, I'd pump those. Final one.
Yeah.
Like a bacon bagel.
Okay.
You're a big bagel
Oh,
guy.
I love
Big
bagels.
bagel, dude.
Yeah.
Bacon and cheese bagel. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. They're my favourite.
Dude, you see, I'm probably. I like that so you've gone double savoury there, though.
I do love savoury, but I'd like sweet with the lolly in
Yeah,
there.
sweet. I
Not
think
much protein.
for me,
No, but if they have protein,
Or
or they're
chicken.
healthy.
no.
Healthy.
Now you're making it healthy.
Yeah,
so like,
true.
So these things are bad. So I could pick like a nerd gummy, for example, and all of a sudden it's got protein, no carb, no sugar,
point.
kind of thing. What are you doing, shop man?
I'd have to go KFC as well, the hot and spicy.
Yeah.
Just copy me there.
What else? Maybe like
Do you like food?
a raspberry cheesecake.
A raspberry.
Yeah, like a raspberry, topping on the cheesecake. What else? Maybe like just a full diesel soft drink.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that count?
What's
Yeah.
different?
Dude, I
what's
wouldn't
different
waste. I
with-
wouldn't waste it because
Yeah,
like
you waste
you've
it.
already got
Why?
a good. Like
the
diet
sugar
soft drinks
free's
are already
enough.
good.
Yeah, I know, but like the full diesel just hits different,
Okay, bro.
and you can't have it as often as we know.
But you could have something else that you could have all the time.
Yeah.
You can have a Coke Zero all the time.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, that's you. That's your pick.
That's
Whatever,
fine. Hey.
man.
Hey,
We've
that's
all
good.
got different
Yeah, we do.
opinions, which is good.
That was good. That was a good sauna chat.
Well, I think we're going to leave
Is
it
that
there.
it?
Yeah.
I
Anything
was
else you
having
want to
so-
add?
Not really. I was having so much fun though.
Yeah. No, this was good.
Is there another?
Actually, I do have one more story about Charlie when we were younger. It was quite funny. Well, I don't know if it would be funny or not, but in the team room, this was Dan McCullough days, and so like I'm like 20, Charlie's 21, maybe probably still 20, and like we're getting the talk. Like obviously Steve now he's a lot more he tries to make sure the anxiety levels are really low with the whole team, so he never talks to anyone too aggressively. But now back in the Dan days, he was. I think he used to say pros get out, as if professionals get out, and so it was left with the ponies, which was the 2 team that would run against him. He was like, "All right, boys, I don't want anyone." I think it was like a final on the weekend or something like that. He was like, "I don't want any heroes. Like, just get out there, prepare the team, do your job, and prepare the team as good as you can." And like hearing that now, it obviously means like go hard, train well. Just like don't be a dickhead out there and like bring the contact level up. But Charlie had heard that, and
I took that literally.
He took it so literally. He's walking out there and he was like, "Fuck, today's going to be a cakewalk." And so kind of like all of us were walking out, all like the young guys are walking out thinking that it's like a bit of a captain's run, and it's not. It's like the Tuesday session, and so it's like test match level of training. And not that I don't know, but anyway, it was. And so we're out there training. First contact, Charlie gets the ball from Loners at 9. He's come in and just like walked into contact and rolled down. And Dan's gone, "Charlie, what the fuck is that?" And like Charlie's like poked up and he goes, "Do you think this is a fucking captain's run, mate?" And Charlie's like, he's looked at him and gone, yeah. And he's like, "No, fuck off." So he's running around the post and come back.
He loved a coat hanger.
And then everyone else is like, "Shit, it's full gear here."
The same, funny you bring out the story, the same training session, and I've had a couple Barry Crockers. We got to wrap up soon, but Dan hated when you knocked the ball down. So passing lane, hand in. Anyway, it was E-Ray. He was trying to pass to the winger. I was the last defender. I've stuck my hand out and I've knocked it down. And I've seen other people knock it down, and Dan goes, "Go to the fucking post." And so I've knocked this ball down, and as soon as I've knocked it down, I start sprinting to the post, and he's like, "Charlie, go to the and keep going."
Took initiative. That's good.
You would have respected that.
I like it.
I wonder if he'll actually remember any of this stuff, or he just yelled it. I don't know if it was just me who was yelling out, but
He yelled at me a few times.
it does sound like it, doesn't it?
Anyway, that's good. It's all
Is that
things
everyone
that bring
happy
that.
with that? Everyone happy with that?
I've got nothing else, I don't think.
Well, that ends our episode with the great and wonderful Charlie Cale. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Make sure you keep sending in your feedback, comments, concerns, questions, and we'll try and keep delivering some good ones.
And another thank you. Didn't expect to be the number 1 podcast in Australia on Spotify, but it's happened, and we really appreciate all the viewers.
Very grateful.
Thanks.
All right. We'll see you in the next
Thanks
one.
for having me.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. How good?
Brother, full waffle.
Oh, fuck. I'll leave.